Goldie.
Inti.
Goldie.
Inti.
Goldie.
Inti.
Let's find out
Sure.
if it's going to be the Goldie or the Inti.
So where do you start from, Boske?
Looks.
Yeah?
What do you like about that? What do you like about this? Which one do you like? Let me put you on the spot.
Which one I like? I think it's a very broad question.
A personal choice. I understand. It doesn't have to be universal. What do you prefer?
I would prefer a mix and match of both motorcycles, to be honest.
Dang, sitting on the fence. Fence is there. Go sit on that wired, spiky fence. I don't want fence sitters here.
Well, I mean, like as I said, 6-year-old product versus just fresh in the market. I would still, this is up the game in quite a few areas of what I said. The handling, the braking, the reassurance when you apply the brakes on the BSA compared to the Interceptor. Interceptor also brakes well.
Don't escape my question. You're diverting and going away somewhere. Come back to the point. Looks.
Looks?
Don't say 6-year-old because even now the Interceptor looks the same.
Yes.
Okay, it's got LED, which I wish it didn't have because this is better, the halogen. This is an older variant. However, nothing much has
changed.
Maybe the blacked out engine has come. That's also an option. We still have this chrome finish engine. So looks. On the spot, no sitting on the fence. If you had to choose one look, I will also answer the same thing. I will not only put you on the spot, I will put myself on the spot also.
Okay, looks wise,
yeah,
I think I'll go with the BSA.
Got him. Looks, yes, I prefer the BSA. Even if we get in one of the new Interceptors, the new colorways and the new blacked out themes, I prefer how the BSA looks over how the Interceptor looks. Okay, thank you for jumping off the fence. I hope you didn't get hurt.
No.
Okay. Engine. When I say engine, how it responds to throttle, how it sounds overall. I am not speaking of performance numbers, acceleration, top speed. I'm speaking of how it is to ride that engine. Yes, when pushing it, hustling it, easily riding it. Overall, the character of the engine and the gearbox as a combination engine gearbox. How does this feel? How does this feel? How different is the ride experience of the engine and the gearbox?
I like twin. I like the Interceptor's engine and the gearbox. It is much more easier. I am a bit confused at times which one is the easier one to ride. At lower revs, I find the BSA, more responsive, whereas the twin, it has its own charm, Boske. So end of the day, if you were to ask me on the engine, the overall response, hustling and all that stuff, I would prefer the Interceptor's engine compared to the BSA's engine.
I found them quite different. Obviously, that's a parallel. This is a single. Top end, the Interceptor would have an advantage simply because of its parallel twin advantage. Low end, mid range, the BSA is more rideable. I enjoyed it more, and that input and the response to throttle was much more sprightly.
As I said, if it comes to lower end, I would prefer the big single on the BSA, whereas the mid range and anything upwards, it's the Interceptor.
Yes. Yeah. And what about the gearbox?
Very smooth, slick shifting gearbox from the twin.
I enjoyed this gearbox more. It's a 5-speed. It's spaced out a little more.
Yes.
I was having to shift less, not because of the capability of the engine or the RPM. It's just that the sound and the feel, I felt I didn't need to switch to a next gear because I know the next gear is a little bit further spaced. Band of each gear, the RPM band is much wider than this because this is a 6-speed close ratio. We can go and hit it into 6th. Can't do that with this. This need to roll it a little bit further before shifting to the next gear. So the riding style has to be different. I preferred this. I was a little more busier on that. I could be lazy on this. So I could ride in mostly in the city because of the tall gearing. Second and third is all what I could use. A lot of third, sometimes come into second. Yeah, but for me, the engine character, like I'm a fan of single cylinders.
Twins!
I know. That's why we are here, I guess. I think you should stand this side
No.
because it'll be easier for you to point to your motorcycle like this. It'll be easier for me to point to my motorcycle instead of doing this. I can do this.
Sure, we'll swap.
This engine character and the gearbox of the Goldstar is what I prefer over the Interceptor. Talk about handling.
The BSA single. The weight management is done so very well, even from getting off low speed. You don't need to hit a certain speed for the motorcycle and you to be comfortable. Like the Interceptor, you need to be about 10 or 15 kilometers per hour for both of you to be comfortable. In this,
Exactly.
stats are very neutral.
Among all the comparison parameters, the one that is furthest from each other is the handling. The weight management is better, and I think the Goldstar is lighter. The Twin makes its engine weight felt. That's a big engine in terms of physical size, not in terms of cc. The Interceptor engine is big. The crankcase is huge. The Goldstar having the dry sump is shorter. In terms of height. The oil sump is placed elsewhere. It has changed the dynamics of the motorcycle. Below 10-15 kilometers per hour, the Interceptor feels completely different. And once you get up to speed, it seems to change like there's a switch. It flips over and becomes a beautiful, sweeping, easy riding motorcycle. Below that speed, it's like there is something heavy lumbering under, somewhere below. It reminds me, dude, 90 kilograms here. Remember. This has got a linear handling from low speed to high speeds. When I speak about high speed, I am talking up to 120 kilometers per hour. Up to that speed, the Goldstar appears to handle better and easier. Okay, when talking about better, I speak, and I think I can speak for CK in this particular aspect. We are normal people. Generally, we fall in the average motorcyclist. Yes, we have put in a lot of kilometers. That is just experience. However, regular folk enjoying motorcycling, riding long, riding far. Speed is not our goal, our aim, not our skill, not interested. We can choose not to. High speed handling, leaning over 43.5 degrees of lean and touching it here and say at that speed I felt the rear step. We don't overanalyze. There are riders who have those abilities, who wish to speak about those things. How many of us truly can push the machine on our roads to its limit to start to comment about how it feels at the extreme end of its performance band?
Where you would spend less than 10% of your
10% is too much, CK. I would say 2%.
Yeah.
So what happens that 2% takes up the focus, the interest of the viewers, the listeners. I do not wish to focus on that and make a meal out of a snack.
But Baski, people who prefer to spend their time in the upper spectrum, why would they buy these bikes?
Thank you. I think that's the end of discussion. Exactly. Why buy this and say the handling is not great at 135 kilometers per hour at a lean angle of 42 degrees? A purpose has to be clear, position has to be clear. So we are speaking to the large band of usability. Extreme, anything can happen at extreme ends of the spectrum. No motorcycle will behave like it behaves in the 80% of it. The last 10% it changes, and it changes even more in the last 20. This is not Marc Marquez, and this is not Marco Bezzecchi. Okay, we are regular folk. That's the reason I started this whole thing about being regular folk. Handling, this is softer sprung. Would you say that?
Yeah.
The Goldstar is sprung softer than the Interceptor. Although this is not the Interceptor, not firm.
It's not firm.
Higher speeds, the Interceptor feels a bit more firm, in a good way.
In a good way, yes.
The BSA feels a little more soft and plush. That itself is a message of how the motorcycle is designed, what is the purpose of the design, how it should be ridden. Like you say, I cannot be expected to take the Goldstar, go to the Buddh circuit, ride around and say the thing doesn't handle very well. So coming back, after wandering all over the place, coming back to handling, yes, for the purpose this motorcycle is designed for, the Goldstar handling, I find it better. Mid to high speed hustling, the Interceptor handles better.
I would prefer the Interceptor.
Yes, I would prefer Interceptor too at mid to high speed hustling.
I think it's a combination, right, Busky? The way the engine responds, the way the gearbox is set up, it behaves that way, right? And it's complementary.
So if someone wants to hustle a retro motorcycle, the Interceptor is the way to go.
Or the GT.
Or the GT, yeah, one of these platforms. Yeah, GT is that's a hustle master.
Yes.
A lot of youngsters, the profile, buyer's profile, age profile of the GT is significantly lower than the age profile of the Interceptor. The GT is people who are literally half our age. So yeah, hustling, high speed, mid speed hustling, Interceptor is great. Lazy and to gentle riding, BSA is much better. Ergonomics, foot peg, seat, handlebar, triangle. How did you feel? Which felt more comfortable, more convenient to you?
The Interceptor, I find it very easy to ride. Yes, it's got a slightly forward biased position, be it the foot peg, the handlebar, the way it is being set up. Makes me a lot more agile. Even you can even stand up and ride on those undulations. It supports it better compared to the BSA. BSA, you're like plonking in, you're down. It's not like, and you're like sitting on an easy chair compared to the Interceptor. So that's my take on it, and I prefer the Interceptor for it.
Agree, the posture is more slightly aggressive on the Interceptor. The pegs are set back, we lean forward, put a little more weight on our arms, more weight on the pegs, in comparison less weight on the bottom. On the Goldstar, the ratio changes a bit. There is a little more weight on the butt, less weight on the hands, less weight on the foot pegs. That's because the pegs are a little bit forward set. Yes, again it goes back to the handling. When we said the Interceptor is easier to hustle at high speed, move around, want to be quick, Interceptor is the choice. Lazy, relaxed and maybe a little marginally aggressive riding, the BSA, that's a result of the posture. A lot more weight on the bottom. Thankfully, the seat on the Goldstar can handle that extra weight on the bottom. This seat, for me, the Goldstar seat is more comfortable than the Interceptor seat. It's wider. The Interceptor seat is a bit narrower. Yeah, I prefer the posture of the Goldstar. Because coming back to the purpose, why do I own a retro looking motorcycle? It is not to hustle it. It is to enjoy. Yes, I could ride fast, but not going to hustle. So with that mindset, my preference is the Goldstar.
Reliability quotient.
Yeah, okay, that's quite simple and straightforward. Because one is yet to be proven. Known devil.
Is better than an unknown angel.
Exactly. So we will have to wait and see how it goes. It's about 500 kilometers I've ridden the Goldstar. For service done, I've shared information already on Insta. And at that time, there was a software update, an immobilizer update. In about 10 minutes, they did some update. I didn't notice any difference, so I guess it is nothing to do with the
ECU?
Actual ECU mapping. It's some other electronics. We'll have to see how it goes. The Interceptor has been around. Yes, it's got its own couple of issues, rectifier regulator issues, RR unit. Other than that, the engine has proven to be bulletproof. Apart from maybe some complaining of noise from the top end, because it's got 8 valves. It's a lot of moving parts going around. Apart from that, we'll have to wait and see, CK, how the Goldstar goes. I am sure the Classic Legends is aware of where they are in the pecking order of the customer's choice, the buyer's choice, the reputation. There is a lot of room for improvement. I see things headed that way because of the interactions I have had recently with some of the management and some of the dealers. There are some changes, improvements, which is good to hear because I guess there is no other choice left but to improve. Reliability, yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
I agree, Bosky. Even though this is still fresh in the market, It's got quite a few quality parts as well. Like you have the XL rims, for instance, got the Brembo brake pads or the Brembo thing. Interceptor also has the same, XL rims, goes a one step higher by having a DID chain. I don't know which chain this is. I think this is a roll-on chain.
Or we'll check it out.
Possibly, yeah. But I don't foresee any major issues because the way the engine is set up, you get a positive vibe, which I was not getting in their Java and EST. This has that vibe, and I think you gotta be a bit more braver buying the BSA compared to the Interceptor.
Courageous, you mean?
Braver. But I don't see this failing or any horror stories coming out of it.
I think the days of horror stories are done. There is no room for that today. The BSA has been around, the Goldstar has been around for a year now in the overseas market, close to a year, I would say. The only complaints I hear on social media is about the availability of parts. In the UK, I have not heard of any technical issues or reliability issues that much. Parts availability is what is the biggest grouse about the Goldstar. I'm sure Classic Legends is aware of that and will take steps to ensure that, and that will not happen here. That has a trickle down effect on the reputation of the product. It affects everything. Resale value, who wants to buy, nobody wants to buy because parts are not available. One issue is addressed, I think down the line things will streamline.
Resale.
Quality of fit, finish, paint, chrome, powder coating, welds.
The Interceptor basket.
I agree with you. The Interceptor is ahead in terms of fit, finish, chrome, powder coating, welds, the way parts go together, the consistency of the color. You have pointed it out before to me. There are several black parts on this motorcycle, including some metal, some plastic, some are painted, some are powder coated, some are just black plastic. The most interesting thing on the Interceptor is, no matter what, they have the same hue and finish.
Yes.
As close as possible, with a minor variation. Black on the plastic, the black on the master cylinder, the black on the T-stem, they're all close to each other.
Yes.
On the Goldstar, there are multiple blacks.
Different shades of
black. That is the amount of detailing which is possible by a brand like Royal Enfield, simply because of how long Royal Enfield has been in the game. It's evolution.
I'm surprised. We're talking of fit and finish from Royal Enfield. Look at the days of the Thunderbird where they came from.
Yeah. Wow. So that's it. They've been around long enough to get here. I am sure the BSA will also get there. It's not bad since we are comparing these things stand out.
Yes.
What's next, CK? What's the bottom line?
Exhaust notes.
Yeah, there you go, there you go, there you go. I know where your preference lies. I know where your preference lies. Sweet sounding. A parallel twin, a 270-degree parallel twin, period. There's no discussion, no talking. It sounds phenomenal, no doubt about it. The parallel twin tone, I like it more than the single. However, I still prefer the single. I just love that thump, the deep thump, the rumble.
I know you're a thumper by heart, Basket.
Yeah, it's easy argument. I mean, it's an easy evaluation. A 270-degree parallel twin sounds a lot sweeter, especially at speed. However, I like the single.
The twin, Basket.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I agree. End of story.
End of story.
Easy discussion.
Yes.
The shortest discussion point. Okay.
True.
What else do we need to cover? Okay, which one should you buy?
Yeah, which one you should buy?
Which one? How do we decide? How can one decide how to choose? Would you share your thoughts? I will also share my thoughts. This is not a Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says this and you must follow.
True.
We suggest you follow his opinion, my opinion of how you could go about it.
Okay, I would be more into my use case.
Okay.
What is going to be my use case if I have to buy a retro motorcycle today? Am I going to use it more in the city? Am I going to use it for a little bit more of breakfast rides? possibly throw in an odd overnighter here and there. I think that would be my decision matrix. Second thing is the availability of spares. Third is the service stations.
So what would be your choice if you had to choose between the two today, now, considering you have no other motorcycle? Because, okay, there you go.
Interceptor, hands down, Baske. How about you?
The use is very important. What am I going to use it for? If I am going to be hustling, I ride fast, more often on the quicker side, doing these things. It's not a question of right or wrong. This is my preference. If something like that is what you do, then the Interceptor is the way to go. If it is relaxed, lazy riding, yes, once in a way, push, go fast, enjoy. For a large extent, it's going to be touring, exploring. I would pick the Goldstar, and that is why I picked the Goldstar.
I'll wait for the bear.
That is the reason why I picked the Goldstar. It is more in line with my riding demeanor. I find the Goldstar more relaxing. I enjoy it more. I am at ease, at peace when I'm on the Goldstar. When I'm on the Interceptor, I feel like hustling it.
The machine makes you do it.
Yeah, the tone, the exhaust, I just want to keep pushing it. And that is not what I enjoy. I enjoy this. I enjoy the laid back, lazy, relaxed touring mode. I have ridden the Goldstar on only one long ride, that is only about 350 kilometers or brake bus ride. It was one of the best brake bus rides I have been on. Just that experience, that close to around 6 hours on the motorcycle.
Yeah, I know you had an extra vada that day.
Yeah, I did. I overate. I was so at peace. I just kept eating. Yes, the service network is something one must consider. Availability of parts is something one must consider. I think that will ramp up. It's just launched. The deliveries have just started. I don't think that is a concern. And yes, it could be a bit of a punt to buy the Goldstar. This proven and reliable Interceptor versus the wannabe King.
By the way, Baske, were you able to get a set of front brake pads?
I haven't tried to buy it yet. I think I can get one.
I will go now.
Yeah, now you give it a shot. You go and see if you can get a pair of brake pads for this. I hope he gets one. Otherwise, I'm going to get a earful from him about why I bought this Goldstar. Hey, buy what you enjoy riding, because anytime you're on the motorcycle, you must enjoy it. Be there, be present. If I'm going to ride the Goldstar thinking about what will be the resale value when I sell it, what will be the service bill when I leave it next year, what will happen when I want a brake pad, genuine reasons, no doubt, but then I will miss out on the ride being there then and enjoying it. It's a choice, choose wisely.
You're playing the Sarda, that's all that matters. Doesn't matter if it's a cello or a violin.
Drums or the tabla, enjoy the music that you like. Don't look over your shoulder and say who's playing with what, who's enjoying what. Your happiness matters to you. There's no need to make him happy. He will be happy if I buy the Interceptor. I am not buying it to make him happy. I am buying it to make myself happy. And that is the reason why I bought the BSA Goldstar. Choose what makes you happy.